calling to order this special meeting for agency funding of the Maine Township Board. Let's please rise to say the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Supervisor Dunn.
Here.
Trustee Jones. Here. Trustee Mike.
Here.
Administrator Berman. Here. And Department Heads, the community and health.
Here.
All right, thank you. Okay, all right, the first thing on our agenda tonight is public participation. Do we have a request for public participation?
No, we do not.
All right, thank you very much. So we will now proceed with hearing from various agencies who have come here this evening and pursuant to their request for funding from Maine Township. And I'll repeat this announcement, but what we'd like is a brief description of your program, say about 5 minutes, and then we will have an opportunity for questions to be asked after that. So what we'll do is ask you to go over to the microphone so we can hear easily what each presenter is talking about. So at 6:30, I have scheduled on the form here a Center for Enriched Living.
Okay, excellent. My name is Karen Fay, and I'm the grants manager at the Center for Enriched Living. I'm also right now the interim director of development, so wish me luck in that position for the next few months. The Center for Enriched Living, or CEL, is a non-residential center for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Our primary objectives are helping individuals with developmental disabilities live full and enriched lives, including opportunities, learning new skills, making new friends, finding jobs, and being treated as equal, valued members of the community. Last year, we served 230 individuals, from young adults through adults, who either live at home with their families, live independently, or live in residential agencies. CEL is located in Riverwoods, near Deerfield, right off of 294. We have members from more than 50 different Chicago area communities, including Maine Township. Our fully renovated universal design building was created with members' needs in mind, including responsive lighting, automatic doorways, and adaptive equipment, in addition to a full kitchen, gym, basketball court, art studio, garden, and much more. If you have not been there, I would encourage you to join me there. CEL was founded in 1968 by two mothers in Albany Park looking for a recreational program for their sons with developmental disabilities. One of these families is still connected with CEL, and her son, now an adult, still attends our programs. At that time, people with developmental disabilities weren't just underserved, they were unserved. CEL emerged from this desire to fully include people with developmental disabilities in all activities that most of us take for granted, and to surround them with rich and supportive community. If you didn't know, Illinois consistently ranks near the bottom of the country in funding for services and programs for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The primary challenges CEL addresses include social isolation, post-school transition once they age out of the school system at 22, and the 85% unemployment rate for those with developmental disabilities. We welcome all ages and all abilities at CEL. We tailor services to the needs of each member, whether they are able to participate in small group activities or require one-on-one support. Our programs are available year-round and 7 days a week. We have social enrichment. We have more than 60 weekday programs for youth, adults, and older adults, including 40 weekly virtual programs. We have an adult day program offered Monday through Friday to help address the lack of services and programs when individuals age out of the school system at 22. This program really focuses on community-based activities, skill building, and volunteering. And our last program, which is our newest, is our Employment Opportunities Program, which helps all stages of the job process, including job training and coaching, and finding the right fit for the individual or our member in the community for their job. As we look into the future, we are seeing individuals and what they're needing. Just to give you some ideas of what has been happening through the pandemic, we have seen young people anxious and depressed, refusing to go to school. Others living independently, suddenly back home, socially isolated. Individuals experience a regression in physical skills. Adults, once sociable and outgoing, now quiet and withdrawn. And parents and caregivers exhausted from worry and 24/7 care. These are just to name a few, and all of CL programs help address these challenges. As we look forward, we have a strategic plan called the Bounce Forward Plan. And there's a few new initiatives that will be happening this next year. First, we're looking at expanding our Employment Opportunities Program, which is partnering our CEL members in the community for paid part-time or full-time employment. The next is a new program called the Family Resource Center. This is a program that will be starting later this year, and will have a social worker, a licensed social worker, to help with mental health, well-being for our families and their loved ones. This program will provide therapy, counseling services, and other support services like occupational therapy and behavioral therapy. We will also have a board-certified analysis, or BCBA, if you know that acronym, which will also be part of this program. This program, although it's targeted for those that are a little bit older, that 22 and older group, we are looking at helping the whole spectrum of family life and helping them all different situations. We are also starting something called the Catalyst Program. This program is for those that are in our Reach Day program, or are looking for something more than our Reach Day program, but are not ready for our Employment Opportunities Program. And this is a program that's really built on a one-to-one basis to help build those skills that they need to be independent in the community. So maybe learning about budgeting and grocery shopping and having a roommate and all of that involves. Maine Township has helped us serve 10 individuals last year with about 3,700 program hours. We receive less than 2% of our organizational funding from state and federal funding to the government. We rely on the community for 70% of our budget. That includes individual donors, special events, and grants, such as Maine Township. We do have a fee for our program that can range from $5 to $15 per hour, but we also have an extensive financial assistance program that helps families that need that. Last year, 4 township families have received financial support from CEL in the amount of about $2,700. And with that, I thank you so much for having me tonight, and thank you for your past support of CEL, and I would be happy to answer any questions you have.
All right, thank you. I open it up to board members now. Any questions of Ms. Faith? I'm sorry, Ms. Faith. I have a quick, go ahead.
I don't have any.
I have a quick question. So you serve people after age 22. Are you youngest people you serve age 22, or do you start before that?
So we do serve all ages. So our youngest is about 13, and our oldest is over 80.
Over what?
80 years old.
Oh, okay.
And everything in between.
Okay. Right. Any questions from our department here? Yeah, Austin.
The 4 Maine Township residents that received the financial support, are they still with you guys, like enrolled in programs?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
Sure. The 4 Maine Township residents that received the financial support, are they still with your organization?
Those individuals have been long-term CEL members, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate your education and presentation. Thank you. And we'll go on to our next agency now. That would be the Northwest Suburban Daycare Center. Good evening.
Hi. First off, I'd like to thank Maine Township for the continued support of our program, which according to our records, date back to 1977. The Northwest Suburban Daycare Center was established in 1970 to provide high-quality, affordable childcare to parents with low income. Our current enrollment is 20 children. We originally lowered our enrollment due to COVID, but now, on top of that, we are dealing with our second staffing issue within the last year. Back in December, our toddler teacher left to work as a nanny, and no surprise, for more money. It took us over 4 months to hire a new teacher, but we finally found a really well-qualified replacement, so it was worth the wait. However, at the beginning of September, the teacher for our 3-year-old room told us he was leaving to pursue his calling in ministry. So the teacher search begins again. Until we are able to fill this position, our enrollment will be maintained at 20, which allows us to properly staff the entire center. We currently have a waiting list of 24 children. So once a new teacher is hired, we can consider safely increasing our enrollment. Currently, all of our families are single mothers and one single father who happens to be a former student. And for the past year, he served as a parent representation on our board of directors. All of our families are on the state subsidized child care program and pay an average weekly fee of $29. Over the past year, we provided full-time child care to 22 Maine Township children, which was 71% of the total served. The number of clients during any given year depends solely on the turnover rate of families. So while our overall numbers may be small, they reflect the longevity of care each family receives. It's not unusual for us to have a child start at 15 months and then graduate at 5 years. That is nearly 4 years of full-day, year-round care and early education provided to just one family. As stated in our application, we are contracted by the state of Illinois to process paperwork and provide immediate approval for the child care subsidy program. In fact, we are one of only 39 contracted centers in the entire state. So here's an example of this advantage. We had a parent with 2 children on our waiting list. In August, we called to see if she still needed child care. Within 2 short weeks, her children were walking through our doors as newly enrolled students. If this parent had applied through the state's local office, Action for Children, we would have waited over a month for her case to be approved. That is, if she completed the paperwork without any errors. Missing a date or a signature would easily add another month to the wait time. As stated in our application, the money we receive for our fee-for-service government programs does not cover our daily costs. And this is why funding from local support like Maine Township is still needed. We are proud that we have maintained a solid partnership with Maine Township for the past 45 years. So on behalf of the parents, our staff, and most importantly the children, we thank you for your long-standing support of our program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions from our board members? Yes, Kim?
I'm just looking at the salaries, and I noticed the teacher's assistants make more than a teacher. How?
I don't think anyone as an assistant.
Yeah, because they've been there longer.
Oh.
Oh, because
The
it
longevity.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, they've been there for almost 20 years.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
a new teacher again.
All right.
Okay, questions from other board members? Our department heads?
Do you have a waiting list right now for?
Yes,
how
we
many
do.
are in your-
24 right now.
24 hours?
Yes, please.
Under expenses on your back sheet, you have something that says bonuses, strengthen and grow child care grants.
Right.
But under expenses, can you explain what that is?
So, I'm not sure why it was under expenses, but
Oh,
you're better at that than I am. I'm sorry.
The Strengthen and Grow Child Care Grant requires that half of the money goes to the employees in some form, whether it's bonuses or salary increases or schooling, and we chose to do bonuses because that's something, while the grant is still in existence, we can pay out, but after that, after the grant ceases, we can't keep up with like new salaries. So we've done it through bonuses.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Other questions from guys or board members? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next agency is Orchard Village. Thank you. You'll step up to the mic, please.
Good evening. I'm Susan Kaufman, and I'm the president and CEO of Orchard Village, and it's a pleasure to speak with you this evening. Orchard Village is a full-service organization for children and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We provide home-based supports, residential services, day and employment services, clinical services, including recreation. We also have a therapeutic day school, and our newest addition in this past year has been a behavioral health clinic, which has really been a great addition, in particular coming out of the pandemic. This year, Orchard Village is celebrating our 50th anniversary, so we are pretty excited about that. We were founded by a man who had 3 sons with disabilities, one of whom we still serve today. He's founded the organization to provide meaningful and important services like employment for people with disabilities within their local communities, such as Maine Township. And tonight, we're going to share with you some thoughts on where we began, but also where we're going. Just imagine for a minute 50 years ago and what it must have been like for him to have 3 children with disabilities. This was a time when there were very few options outside of hospitals and large institutional settings. This was a time where people, children and adults alike, were warehoused without adequate services and supports, when their families no longer could care for them. And this was also a time when special education was just emerging in court cases and before the landmark legislation mandating education for all that we know today was enacted. I'm proud to say that we've grown and been able to thrive in these past years, despite, and I think you heard it from the lady from CEL, in a state that has really poorly and historically underfunded services for people with disabilities. In fact, in a study that was done by the University of Colorado in 2019, it ranked Illinois 47th worst of the 50 states in funding for community spending for disabilities. And while I am happy to report the last few years we have seen some improvement in Illinois, we still have a really long way to go to catch up. And that's why we're here today. And why Orchard Village truly relies on the generosity of groups like the Township to help fund very needed services like our employment program. I don't have to tell any of us how important employment is, and having meaningful employment, whether it be for us individually or for our family members. And this wish is no different for people with disabilities, but for them they're up against some greater odds. According to the most recent Bureau of Statistics information, this year 38% of people with disabilities aged 16 to 64 were employed, as compared to 77% for people without disabilities. 26% of adults with disabilities under 65 live below the poverty line, compared to 11% for those without. And while these numbers are improving as well, because it's a bit easier for everybody to find employment, the differences between the two groups are still very huge and long-standing. And thus we need support for employment services. And so I'd like to introduce to you Teresa Kopitsky. She's our Senior Director, and she's in charge of our Community Employment and Day Services, and she'll tell you a little bit more about the specifics of what we're asking.
Tell me her last name again.
Kopitsky. K-O-P-I-T-Z-K-E.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all for having us here. I know I could go and I could give you more data. You have heard data from a lot of people tonight. You will hear data from more people tonight. What I wanted to do more than anything is really tell an example, share a story with you. I wanted to discuss one of the individuals who lives in our Park Ridge house. He is somebody who came under my umbrella of services a few years ago, and he is a great, fantastic example of what some of the services that we provide, what they do. So I need you to imagine a young man who is in his early 20s, who is perpetually uneasy, anxious, and very reserved. He is the kind of person that you see who walks hunched over, no eye contact, and he struggles just to exist in our world. He joined our program and started to get services at our community day services program. And with the support of our trained staff, we got him more and more comfortable until he was able to start to get out in the community and engage in some of our work sites. Now, they started out small volunteer sites, a few hours here, direct support from our staff, but in time, you started to see little changes within him. Small things like his posture, still not making good eye contact, but those shoulders were back just a little bit. His hygiene improved enough where you could see he was starting to feel proud of himself. As he got compliments, as he got positive reinforcement, he started to realize that he wasn't just this man with a disability. He was a man who had so many skills that were blossoming before our eyes. It was incredible, just the power of opportunity, the chance, finding the right spot for him that allowed him to see his own potential, that allowed him to grow. Fast forward a year. He is now working one-on-one with me, luckily, and we got him a seasonal job around the holidays, where, of all places, we have him working at GameStop. GameStop around Christmas time is not a happy place if you don't like the community, right? But he was like, I think I can do it. I think I'm ready. And I was like, I'm gonna be with you the whole time, man, let's do it. And he did it. Were there a few times we had to take a break and go outside and take a walk in the cool air? Yes, there were. But he kept it together, and he kept his composure, and that job was paid, and so granted it was 1 hour, minimum wage, once a week, but he was going to buy Christmas presents for his 2 elderly parents with that money. And it was a proud day for him when he could do that. After I saw that he was able to maintain composure, keep it together, we opened up a case for him through the Division of Rehab. That allowed us to provide the funding, the staff support, to help him find a job. What it doesn't provide is this individual who, as Susan mentioned, lives below the poverty line. He doesn't have extra money. So when we got him that first job interview, how was he going to dress? Well, him and I went to Target. We got him a polo shirt, some new khakis. And again, remember that man I told you about 2 years before who was so hunched over? When he came out of that dressing room, I clapped. I was so proud of him, not just because of how phenomenal he just looked in his new clothes, but because of how phenomenal he's shown. He got that job. But how was he going to get there? There's no funding for Pace door-to-door tickets. So again, Orchard Village, we provided the transportation, the funding for that transportation so he could get to and from work. Now he's making money. He can do those things on his own. But if he didn't have that unfunded support, it doesn't come from any government funding. It comes from grants. Grants like the ones that you all offer. Those are the services that we're able to provide. That's the difference that allows one man success versus failure. And that's just one story, but I could stand up here and Susan knows, I could tell you 50 stories just like that. We serve in a given year about 60 people at our vocational program, and it varies year by year, but somewhere between 15 and 20 come from Maine Township. And so the services that you provide, they make a huge difference for, 15 people. It's important to us. So thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board members, any questions? All right. How about
Thank
any
you.
questions? Austin?
So most of your clients are funded by IDHS, and it states that private pay is quite rare. Do you know like roughly what percentage of your clients?
We have very, very few private pay clients. Almost everybody is funded through Medicaid because they are considered poor. We do offer private pay. I think we have, of the 250 unduplicated people that we serve, maybe 2 to 4 at any time, and it's very minimal services that they get.
In the employment programs, including day programs, there are some people that have some funding, but they don't have full funding. And so they private pay for those day services. So in mentioning about this young man's case, his first step was the day service program that allowed him to build those skills for employment. In that program, we currently have 3 or 4 people who private pay for those services, although they may get services or funding in other ways.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? All right. Thank you
Thank
very
you so much and for your past support. We appreciate it.
Our next agency is Lifespan.
It's a tough act to follow. Hi, I'm Amy Fox. I'm Lifespan's Executive Director. I think we look very familiar. Been here many times in the past, and I appreciate the opportunity to come again this evening and present our proposal. I think I'm just giving you a brief overview. Is that correct?
That's fine.
Same format as normal, correct? All right.
Yes.
So I know most of you are familiar with Lifespan. We provide comprehensive services to survivors of domestic and sexual violence. We provide 3 core direct services that are counseling, advocacy, and legal services. Our counseling services are comprised of individual and group for adults and for children. We have about 9 counselors, 6 of which are located in our Displays office that provide those services. We have a resource counselor that helps our clients access sort of collateral resources that they may need. I mean, a lot of them are primarily economic and rental assistance, and they work closely with Maine Township's services, the food pantry. We also provide advocacy. So historically, that was predominantly criminal court advocacy, which means we help survivors really navigate that system. If you know anything about criminal court, the victim of the crime is actually considered a witness, and there isn't really anyone who's particularly representing their needs. So our advocates help them navigate that process, and they also help them navigate some other processes, hospitals and other educational systems. We have an advocate who's in the Rolling Meadows in the Skokie Courthouse in Main Beach. They have an office right there, so they're there every day to help existing clients as well as really just encountering survivors who are encountering the criminal process for the first time that day. We also provide legal services, so we have over a dozen attorneys who represent survivors in the area of family law and immigration. So of that, we have 4 attorneys in our disciplines office, which has grown a lot over the years, right? I feel like there were some years we just had 1 attorney, but the past several years we've increased that. So our family law matters, everything from an order of protection to divorces, child support, visitation, custody, and parentage. And our immigration matters, they all sort of stem from the abuse and the victimization. So they seek relief under the Violence Against Women Act and some other matters that are tangential to their participation in criminal court processes. Aside from that, we have a really robust policy and outreach and education program. And we have a couple new, so we've Doesn't seem a year goes by, we're not expanding our services. The last time I came to you, I spoke a little bit about expanding our human trafficking project because of the intersection between human trafficking and sexual and domestic violence. So that's one of our expansions during COVID. This year, we're so excited that we are expanding a bit in the area of workforce development. Very daunting and not anything we would ever do without a very solid collaborative partner. So we're partnering with an organization called Women Employed, where we've helped them already. They have this Career Foundations curriculum that helps individuals really move. It's not just job placement. We want people to have a sustainable wage, a career, so they really can become economically independent. Because as we know, that's especially important for our clients, because one of the main factors that survivors stay with an abuser is because of economic and financial dependence upon them. So with this project, we've helped them sort of revise their existing curriculum so that it is sensitive and unique to survivors' needs, and then we hope to pilot it with our own clients and do that foundational work with them, and then partner with actual workforce development organizations and employers to take that next step. So it's very exciting because we are piloting it with them, and so it's great to be on that front, the front end, and to have our input in that process. So those are some of our exciting expansions. Oh, another big thing, our displays office, we're expanding in space. So we're busting down a wall. I hope my landlord's not here, but because I haven't finalized my lease, but I hope to, that we're gonna bust down the wall next door and expand because we're adding staff. We're adding a part-time counselor to prioritize weekends and evenings. We already provide that in some capacity. We want to expand that based on client need, and also expanding our outreach and education with that expansion as well. So a lot going on.
Okay, do I hear questions from the board members? No, Jim?
Yeah, I had a quick question. How many employees do you have? It says you pay $2.9 million for salary. How many employees do you have?
Well, we've expanded. So we are we will hit 50 with this new expansion.
50.
Right.
I had a question about the attorneys. Did you say that they're volunteers or are they employees?
All of our attorneys are on staff full-time.
And what type of work do they do? Do they do divorces or do they do
Correct.
other protection?
Divorces, orders of protection, parentage. What used to be called child support and custody, visitation, and immigration.
And you said 3 lawyers, I think? Sorry.
4 lawyers at our
Four
disciplinary
full-time.
office.
Do you work with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office? Because they work trying to collect child support too.
Correct. So we do. Well, we have a couple formal collaborations with the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. So when we determine for child support enforcement, we certainly, when we're doing our own case acceptance criteria, we look, okay, is there someone else out there who is assisting in this matter? So if it's strictly a child support enforcement case, we certainly would just refer to the State's Attorney's Office because they have collection methods that a private attorney does not. They can seize tax returns, they could take away driver's license. But most often the cases that we see, it's not just purely a child support. There will be issues such as visitation and custody. They're tangential to that it's really important for them to have an attorney to help them navigate that for safety reasons.
Okay, all right. Any questions from our department heads? And Jim?
Yeah, I just have one more. It looks like you get some money from the Attorney General's office as well as the state's attorney, right?
We do. So
Looks like they
yes.
have the funding.
So the Attorney General's office supports our legal program.
Okay, but they don't do any of the legal work, I don't think, but they
No, they do not.
They're part of the revenue.
Correct.
Okay. Thanks.
Don't they do some collections of child support outside of Cook County?
The Attorney General's office?
Yeah.
Not familiar with that.
I thought they did outside of Cook County, but anyway.
Probably, I think they do too, but maybe not.
Yeah, all right.
Thanks so much.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, our next CPC's the Northwest Center Against Sexual Assault, Northwest Casa.
My mask, whenever you can see me, I have 2 preschoolers that are 5 days in the antibiotic for the double ear infection, so just in case I was messing up. So good evening, my name is Rebecca Placencia, and I'm here representing the Northwest Center Against Sexual Assault, or Northwest CASA for short. So thank you to the township for over 20 years of continued support to township residents who are also survivors. So Northwest CASA works to empower individuals impacted by sexual harm and engage communities to end sexual violence. We have 3 offices, our main office in Arlington Heights and 2 satellite offices, one in Evanston and one in McHenry. Just want to throw it out there that we are passively keeping our options open as we have outgrown our Arlington Heights space, and we do find Maine Township to be a desired area in case anyone has or knows of space available. So to accomplish our mission, we offer 4 main services. One is counseling, that's one of the cornerstones of Northwest CASA. Client-centered specialized counseling to sexual harm survivors and their loved ones. The clients are seen by a licensed professional to help them work through the trauma-related issues. We offer medical legal advocacy. Often one of our first contacts with survivors happens in the local emergency rooms. Whether survivors are coming in for a wellness exam or for a full forensic exam, we serve 8 local ERs in Cook County. So 24 hours a day and 7 days a week, we will respond to community hospitals to be with the survivor within 1 hour of receiving their call. We offer emotional support, provide information, give referrals, and provide a change of clothes to allow families to start to regain their dignity after their clothes are often confiscated as evidence during the evidence collection kit. Prior to our service, survivors would actually find themselves leaving the hospital in a hospital gown and sometimes have to take a taxi to do that. So that's just one of the ways that we partner with the hospitals and have agreements to support them in their ER departments. And then depending on the situation, legal advocacy may be needed for the survivor. We have legal advocacy available for our clients to provide emotional support and information both inside and out of the courtroom and police stations. The legal process can be long and stressful, with many cases taking years to come to any type of resolution. We also have a 24/7 crisis hotline. Through sleepless nights and anxiety-filled days, we are there to lend an ear, train staff and volunteers, take calls, answer questions, and diffuse crisis 24/7. So someone's there to answer the line every hour of the day, every day of the year, even on the holidays. The crisis line was the founding point of Northwest CASA in 1975 and still runs strong today with over 30 volunteers assisting to keep it up and running as we hit record numbers of calls. And then finally, prevention education to ensure that it doesn't happen to anyone else. So we want to educate the community on how to respond and myths surrounding sexual violence. So with professional training, we offer training to community groups, police, hospital staff, and many more. And our education program is dedicated to students from preschool to college age. Age-appropriate topics are discussed, including consent and healthy relationships. Happy and healthy. Same. And so Maine Township supports and has supported Northwest CASA's sexual violence intervention program. So that includes the counseling, the advocacy, and the 24-hour hotline. We are requesting $5,000 this year for Maine Township, which is equivalent to 10% of the cost of last year's provided service hours for Maine Township residents. Part of the reason for our increased request is the incredible difficulty we have competing with private practice salaries in this competitive market. Northwest CASA has a policy that exceeds state standards, and all trauma counselors are master's level, ensuring that all residents receive quality and innovative services, even if they are free. However, the higher the credentials and experience, the higher the cost. We work to offset some of this cost on the wait list through an internship program and a volunteer counseling program. Our volunteer counselors are licensed individuals within the community who volunteer their time every week to counsel clients under direct supervision of the agency, and we're so grateful for their unique service. So last year, Northwest CASA served 46 Maine Township residents in this program for a total of 260 service hours. And some residents only use counseling services, some use only advocacy services, and many use the mixture of the services offered to get through a very difficult time in their life. All the services we provide can be combined or used a la carte. Sometimes the medical advocacy leads to legal advocacy, which leads to counseling. That's exactly how it worked for me. Because I'm a survivor, and I've used every single one of the survivors offered by Northwest CASA, and have been working for the agency now for over 10 years, moving from a hotline volunteer to a deputy director. I am living proof of the quality level of care provided by sexual violence crisis centers and the importance of ensuring these critical services remain free and available. I would not be here without them. Ensuring that 24 hours a day and 7 days a week, someone is still there to answer that call, like they did for me over 15 years ago, is exactly why supporters like Maine Township are so crucial to ensuring that residents continue to have access to this critical care. Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, any questions? I have some questions. There's a Lake County CASA and a DuPage CASA. Is there one overarching CASA organization?
Yes. So there's the Illinois Coalition Against Sexual Assault, which is the state run. They do, they kind of handle the federal grants and the state grants. That's where all of our money comes from. And then they service and set the standards for 30 centers across the state. So we all have our own territory, and we're all protected under absolute privilege for Illinois. So we all have our own territories.
All right. And all the figures that we see in here for this application is just for Northwest?
Yes, this is just for us, just for Buchanan. Yep.
Okay. All right. And do you provide volunteers or perhaps staff members to go with survivors to like bond hearings? Have you done that in the past? Do they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. We can go with them to be a support. We do the civil no contact orders of protection we assist with, and then act as a support through the entire criminal process.
Okay.
But we don't have any lawyers on staff. We're advocates assisting. So we're working directly with the state's attorney to support them as a witness.
Okay. All right. Department heads? Yes.
Just had a quick question on the application number 31. Your breakdown of staff positions is a little confusing. Can you take a quick look at that? Maybe you can explain that.
For how we calculated out the FTEs?
Right.
Just because it's, well, because most of our so the reason the numbers probably look like there's not a whole number is because most of our supervisors do direct service, well, actually everyone on the leadership team does direct service and administrative work. And then considering that we have some part-time direct service workers, so then they're a smaller prorated that.
So it's a mix of the different three. Some do a mix of the three that we have listed. Is that what you're saying? Or
yes,
okay,
absolutely.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other department questions?
It can be a grant reporting.
What does FTE stand for? Full-time employee.
Full-time employee.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Full-time employee. Thanks. Yes, Dad.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, the next agency we have is Resources for Community Living.
Good evening. My name is Karen Asta, and I'm the Executive Director of Resources for Community Living. Fred Steuben retired on October 7th, and I took over on October 10th.
Oh, and you know what, I'm sorry. Did you say Frederick Steuben?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, can I get your name again?
Karen Asta,
How do you spell your last name?
A-S-T-A.
Okay, thank you.
I have been with the agency for 23 years, as a case manager, so I'm new to my current position, but I'm not new to the agency. I'm very happy to say that we are currently fully staffed. We have one new case manager in July and one new case manager that just joined us last week. RCL serves adults with developmental and physical disabilities find independent housing within the northwest suburbs of Cook County. We help the individual find appropriate apartment housing. We assist with the lease, setting up utilities, and we offer support services such as teaching how to cook, clean, maintain a budget, and pay bills. We take individuals grocery shopping and to doctor's appointments. We have a social program where we pick up at home and drop off at home. We go to movies, dinners, bowling, and miniature golf, just to name a few of our activities. We also have a very generous board member that hosts an annual summer picnic that everyone loves and looks forward to. We try to get individuals out into the community as much as possible. We feel like this is such an important part of being a happy and independent person to be involved within the community that they live in. All services are very tailored to the individual, and they pick the goals that they want to work on for the year through their annual IPP, which is an individual program plan. I would like to tell you a little bit about a long-term client named Michael. Michael resides in Maine Township and has his entire life. 23 years ago, Michael and his family came to RCL looking for services. We helped him find his first apartment and helped him find a roommate. We applied for Section 8 housing and taught Michael to live independently. With RCL support and hard work from Michael, he works at Jewel, volunteers at Lutheran General Hospital, and is active in Maine Township special recreation activities. He now lives by himself in a beautiful apartment that he decorated on his own.
All right, we'll resume our meeting now. The next agency our schedule tonight is the Maine Niles Association of Special Recreation. So, would you like to step up to the microphone?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello. So just begin. We got a little intro. Okay. So first of all,
Thank you for helping.
yes, thank you so much for this opportunity. A little bit of background for those who don't know what the Maine Niles Association. I'm sorry, Patricia Brightlow. Patricia Brightlow. I'm the executive director at the Maine Niles Association of Special Recreation.
Go ahead, sorry.
So Manassar is what we go by for short, and Manassar began in 1972, so we're very excited to be celebrating our 50th anniversary this year. Special Recreation Associations, or SRAs, are unique only to the state of Illinois, and we were actually the second Special Recreation Association formed. And what SRAs are is actually, it's legislation that allows 2 or more municipalities to join together to provide services, recreation services specifically, for individuals with disabilities by creating another entity. So we are actually an extension of 6 park districts in 1 village. And like I said, providing recreation programs just like a park district does, but all for individuals with disabilities. We serve Morton Grove, Niles, Des Plaines, Park Ridge, Gulf, Maine, Skokie Park Districts, and the village of Lincolnwood. We offer all types of programming, just like your local park district does, from general recreation, day camps, adapted sports, competitive sports, Special Olympics, art, after school, fitness, social, special events, and even overnight trips. And of course, during COVID, we did some online programming, and actually we're going to keep that going forever, not to the extent we were, but we found it's very beneficial for some of our individuals who have barriers getting out of the house or anxiety, and it's just more convenient for schedules as well. So we're still offering those. In addition to our programming, Manassar offers inclusion services to our park districts. And so that is typically a child registers for a program, so think aftercare, day camp, or sports. And if they have a disability and need additional assistance in order to be successful in the program, we can provide that assistance. That can be training to the park district, whether it's their full-time or part-time staff, providing additional resources, and quite often training an additional part-time staff to work as an inclusion assistant in the program. We are mostly funded through our member district contributions, which are tax-based, but we also have programming fees as well. And then, of course, grants like these, and we do some fundraisers too. So we have an annual appeal, a holiday raffle, and a trivia night for a little bit of fundraising. Typically, so prior to COVID, we were offering about 650 programs annually for over 1,300 individuals with disabilities in our service area. Currently, about 24% of our individuals participating with us are from Maine Township. And our staff, we have full-time staff. Our recreation team is made up of certified therapeutic recreation specialists, which requires a degree in therapeutic recreation. And then we hire anywhere from 100 to 200 at our busiest time part-time staff to help assist in all those programs and inclusion services. Manassas offers a lot of benefits to its participants. We provide individuals with disabilities opportunities and access to beneficial programming they may not otherwise have or that are more difficult for them to enjoy because of barriers. Of course, recreation on the surface is fun, and that is a benefit. But recreation also provides many benefits and is very enriching. And as I mentioned, we have CTRS certified staff running our programs, and they plan lesson plans specifically with the goals in the domains related to mental and cognitive, physical, psychological, and social. So through our community recreation programs, our participants get to be part of their community and create a sense of belonging, feel included and establish relationships, fight loneliness and depression that can be common with individuals with disabilities or without social outlets, work on gross or fine motor skills or learn new skills, improve communication and social skills, work on individual goals and lifelong learning, and improve self-confidence. In addition to those direct benefits, families are enjoying a time of respite when their children, or quite often adult children, are enjoying a meaningful and safe activity. As part of our 50th anniversary celebration, we asked our participants for words that came to mind when they thought of Manassas. And we created a word cloud that we've been using throughout the year, and it's pretty great. But just some of the feedback we received included, and again, this is from our participants, what they think of: happy and happiness, teammates, friends, learning a new skill, fun times, you can do anything, protected, quality, and bowling and bingo. A couple of our very popular programs too. Specifically in Maine Township, right now this season, our fall season, we have 36 programs running. A few highlights of these are our Sensory Strides program at the Des Plaines Leisure Center. We have, in 2017, built a sensory room, so that focuses on the motion and sensory and light FX, and again, those are 30-minute one-on-one sessions, so we're very goal-based on that individual's particular needs and using that either sensory stimulation or deprivation to help work on whatever they're working on at home. We have Splishin' and Splashin' program. We have Bocce Blend, which is actually bocce for individuals with physical disabilities. It's a little different. It's played with a smaller ball. And this program is also very long-standing, and we've had several individuals participate at national games. Most recently this summer, we took a group to Iowa for that. We have Tea Time Golf, also in Des Plaines. And we have Action Club. Action Club just started this January. We're very excited about it. It's going very strong. It's actually a chapter of Kiwanis, and we partnered with the Park Ridge of Kiwanis to create that. And so it is specifically for adults with disabilities, and they're basically doing service projects throughout the year. Some costs and challenges we face. Although we're similar to park districts in the services we provide, we are providing more structured programming, especially compared to if you think about what's offered at your local park district for an adult or an older adult. Our programs often require very close staff to participant ratio. So if you think of like a fitness class has one instructor and 15 people participating, we might have that same class with one instructor, but then need 5 or 6 assisting staff. So we're a lot staff heavier, which of course is a challenge these days. Also, transportation is listed as one of the #1 barriers for individuals with disabilities. We provide that access with 7 accessible vehicles to take people back and forth to our programs. And then also some other challenges, of course, unfunded mandates like minimum wage increase, but also everybody fighting that, so trying to stay competitive and find the staff to work on programs. We do keep our fees comparable or lower than park district programs, but there's still a great need for scholarships, and that's what we're requesting our funding for. Families that would have an individual with a severe disability often are restricted in the amount they can work due to the amount of care the family member needs. They often have additional therapies or medical bills that significantly affect their discretionary income. And then as our program fees rise, that can also affect the need for scholarships, which again, with the minimum wage increase, we do see that happening in the future. And as I mentioned, we're getting back to our full programming, and I'm noticing scholarship requests are increasing again from year to year. We do give partial scholarships awarded to those requested for those who are at the 150 to 250% poverty line and can provide backup documentation, but we do process everyone on a case-by-case basis as well. In 2021, we had 37 participants in Maine Township receive almost $7,400 in scholarships for 113 different programs. And so far in 2022, we're up to 40 participants receiving over $8,000 in scholarships. And the scholarships we give out to Maine Township residents make up about 43% of our total scholarships. Before COVID, our maximum, and we did max out, was $35,000 a year, and we are starting to get close to that again. Our biggest requests for grants are for scholarships and transportation. As I mentioned, we maintain that fleet of 7 vehicles, and over the last 2 years, the cost of these vehicles has significantly increased. They were $85,000, and now they're coming in at about $130,000. We replace a vehicle about every other year. So receiving a grant for scholarships from Maine Township would be immensely helpful in being able to continue to provide that financial assistance to participants while offsetting some of these other extremely high cost increases. I've spoken about the need for our programs, the benefits and services, the costs and challenges, what the scholarships are for, and I just want to leave you with a couple quotes from some of our families. The first one says, "I am just immensely grateful for all the work that Manassar does. Fred's life is absolutely enhanced by all of his Manassar activities." And the second, "Thank you for providing assistance to the children who need that extra support to succeed, as we all sometimes do." So Manassar is very grateful to you for your consideration, awarding money to support the scholarships to individuals with disabilities in our recreation programs. Are there any questions?
Thank you. From board members, do we have any questions? Jim?
I just have a quick question. It looks like you tried a lot to do scholarships for the children or adults who can't pay. What is the normal fee for a child or an adult who doesn't have a scholarship? Approximately.
It depends on the program. Our base fee is typically $7.50 an hour. Is kind of how we set the fee, and then if there's additional costs on top of that, like a ticketed event or something, we incorporate that into the fee.
Okay. And a lot of scholarships, maybe what percentage would you say the kids or adults get scholarships and what don't?
I don't have that statistic right off the top of my head.
Sure. Interesting.
Most, I can tell you 70% of our adults that live in residential homes get scholarships.
Get scholarships, and then so they participate in free in whatever programs they participate in. Okay. All right, thanks. Interesting.
Department head, any questions? Okay. All right, questions, any questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Okay, next agency is Avenues to Independence.
Hi.
First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to stand up here and talk about Avenues. Avenues is very near and dear to my heart. I've been there my name is Joni Kraft, by the way. I have been at Avenues for over 36 years, probably about as long as I think we've been getting support from you guys, which greatly appreciate and the opportunity again this year. At Avenues, I'm currently the acting CEO. I've been Vice President of Programs. I've been the Director of Admissions and Government Contracts. I've done case management, other management, handling all of the billing that we do within the agency as well through our state. So a lot of experience standing here in regards to Avenues. It's kind of surreal for me to be standing up here because I'm usually sitting in the audience. I've volunteered numerous times for Student Government Day, and I hear we're starting it up again, so that's pretty exciting. I always love that day. So I'm usually there rooting on our students to do a great job, and that's always really fun for us. With me today, though, is Stacy Craig as well. She'll speak to you a little bit when I'm done. Stacy's our Director of Development. So just for those of you, hopefully you all know about Avenues, but if you don't, let me give you a brief overview. So we're an adult provider for folks who have intellectual disabilities, developmental disabilities. We've been in existence since the 1960s. I believe we are the largest provider of these types of services in Maine Township. We currently have our administrative building right there on Bussey Highway. We have 6 homes in Park Ridge. We have a home in East Plains. We do a lot of community employment in the area. We also have a day program and a pre-employment program that we have based out of Wheeling. We have right now over 200 participants that we serve. Of those, about 90, I believe, 89 or 90, are residing in Maine Township. We average somewhere about 20 to 21,000 hours of service per month. between our folks that are living in the homes, between our community employment program, our day program. We have quite a group that comes up to our day program in Wheeling, as well as our home-based support services, which is case management that goes into the homes and works with families to provide find services that they're needing for their child. As a hometown agency, I'm sure you've seen our folks out and about, working, shopping, in the restaurants, banking. They're living the mission of the life, which is, leading the lives that they choose in as independent an environment that they want to be in. We have Bill, who's been at the Parkridge Jewel for just celebrated 30 years. We have, I know, it's great. We have Sergio, who's been a custodian at Maine East High School for 33 years. Lewis is working at Coin Insurance there on Bussey Highway. He's been there 10. Stuart is at Trader Joe's. He's been there 9. So that's just some of the folks that we have in the area that you may have run into. And hopefully if you're running into them, please chat with them, ask them about avenues. They love to talk. They're our greatest ambassadors. They love to talk about what we're doing, and happy to chat with you, so please do so. But coming off of COVID, it was kind of a rough period for a lot of our folks who are used to getting out and about and in the community and being a part of the community. They really had to hunker down, especially considering where many of them live. They're in homes with other roommates who might be vulnerable as well. Unfortunately, some of our folks lost their jobs during that time, and some of them had to put them on hold. So over this past year, we really have been trying to get them back out. They're all fully boosted, thank goodness, and getting them out into their community, enjoying what they've always done, and going forward. And part of that has been, it's been a mission of our board, as well as all the administrative staff, is to expand our community employment program. Last year, the funding that we received from Maine Township certainly went into that. We placed 7 new individuals into community employment, and that is our hope to grow that program even more with additional funds that we can get. It takes a lot of manpower to place somebody into a job within the community. Not only are you placing them, but you have to find the employer, you have to meet with the employer, you need to train the individual on the job with job coaching. There's transportation issues we're usually trying to figure out, as well as helping them retain that job. Issues pop up and our job coaches can jump in to do that. So our hope is to hire another employment specialist in the coming year. His focus will be out in the community doing the job coaching, helping them as issues pop up, and just helping individuals maintain those jobs and get those jobs. Something to know, one more thing I just wanted to know before I hand it off to Stace. Is that while many agencies throughout the state, like ours, have chosen to downsize or even close their doors, a lot because of COVID, funding was lost, but also because right now we are facing a pretty severe workforce shortage for folks who are working as direct care service providers in our agencies. But Avenues, I have to say, we've been going strong. A year ago at this time, we had about 196 individuals that we were serving, and we're up to 219 right now. So we're heavily committed to continue going and doing the best that we can for the folks we serve, and no plans for that to stop anytime soon. So, no further ado, I will pass you off to Stacy.
I'm sorry, before you do that, your application shows Jason Clark as being the CEO. Did he leave recently?
He did. He left within the last few weeks.
And your full name is Joni?
Joni Kraft, K-R-A-F-T.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Stacey Craig. I'm the Director of Development and Special Events at Avenues. I've been at Avenues now for 15 years. Half the time was serving as a case manager, and the other half has been in the development department. So I'm in charge of most of our fundraisers, special events, our board management, donor relationships, and overseeing some of our grants as well. And we're so grateful, as Joni mentioned, for the 37 years of support of Maine Township. We're also very fortunate that a majority of our board members reside in Maine Township or have resided at some time. And when we did some donor research, actually 30% of our donors are Maine Township residents as well. So I just wanted to, Joni mentioned Bill, we recently fundraised at our virtual wine event last year for some kitchen and hallway renovations to make those homes more accessible for the aging men in that home and individuals going forward. And we we were fortunate to have our gala in June. While it was delayed, we were able to be in person, and we raised money for community employment training at that as well, where we highlighted some of our client stories. John and Jeff, who are both residents of Park Ridge and Des Plaines. They've either gotten jobs through prep or are learning skills through prep. They volunteer at different sites in the community. A really lovely story is about Jeff, who was volunteering at Feed My Starving Children. And around the holidays last year, he had donated his entire paycheck to Feed My Starving Children, which is a big deal for one of our individuals to do that. And one of the volunteers actually heard about it and matched the donation. So as much as our clients get out of the community, they're also so willing to give back as well. So that's just some stories about some of our clients that are utilizing the programs.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have any questions here from board members?
They said, the gala event, is that a one day or one night event? Oh my God, where do they conduct that?
Our gala is usually at Lowe's and Rosemont. I forgot to mention, in 2023, it's our 70th year.
Yeah.
So we're switching it up a little bit this year and having a big kickoff event in February instead of a normal gala.
That's a $398,000 event.
Yeah.
Outstanding. That's a pretty good event. Congratulations.
It's fun.
That's
We're all
twice?
excited.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very
Wait,
much.
just 1 second.
Yeah.
Any questions? Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, our next agency is Glenn Kirk.
Good evening. My name is Kim Johnson. I'm the CEO at Glen Kirk. For those of you that might not know, Glen Kirk is a full-service organization for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We have many of the same programs that Avenues does. We have 20 SILAs, or group homes, within the north and northwest suburbs, as well as an apartment building in Highland Park. We have day programs throughout the north burbs, as well as a community employment program that supports 22 people to work in the community. We have clinical services that are fairly robust and have expanded this past year. We've become licensed as a behavioral health clinic with the state of Illinois, which means that we can provide specialized behavioral health services to the IDD population that are Medicaid recipients. And we look forward to growing that program. We just recently took in our first new client who happens to be a Maine Township resident. We also have a respite program that operates within the Cook and Lake counties, and currently about 27% of the individuals that participate in our respite program are residents of Maine Township. And so much of what you had just heard from Avenues is the same struggles that Glen Kirk has been facing. We closed down during the pandemic. We were not allowed to run our day programs, so this past year we really focused on reopening our day programs. We have 4 that serve about 130 people. So the township support last year helped us safely reopen. We have been working with smaller groups, cohorting people, making sure that we were staying safe this year. Our biggest challenge we face is a staffing crisis. Glen Kirk has been carrying about a 28% vacancy rate amongst our direct support professionals, which is consistent not only with data in Illinois, but across the United States. This has become a real crisis due to low wages. Glen Kirk has invested $2 increase per hour in our workforce that has not been fully reimbursed by the state of Illinois. And so we are constantly looking for ways to increase that wage so that we can pay people commensurate with the job that we are asking them to do. Because of this staffing crisis, it really has hindered our ability to get back out to the same levels of service that we were before. But we did feel that reopening our 4-day programs was a priority this past year, and we were able to do that. We were also able to open a new group home, a SILA, with 6 men moving into a home in Northbrook.
and so this is the first home we've been able to open since 2018 due to the pandemic. I'm not sure if you're aware right now, but there are over 10,000 people in Illinois on the wait list for these types of services. As I mentioned, our behavioral health clinic was licensed this year, and we plan on growing that program. That program is open to all residents of the township that are Medicaid recipients. So we are targeting low-income individuals that have disabilities. Our program can come to people. They don't have to travel to come to the clinic for services. We can come into the home to provide mental health assessment, therapy services, family therapy, as well as case management, helping link people to other types of services that they might benefit from. Over the past year, we were able to return to our in-person fundraiser. We held our annual benefit bash in September at the Ravinia Green Country Club, and we're able to raise $215,000 in benefit of our programs. The reason that fundraising is so important within our field is because there is a gap between the reimbursement that we get from the state and the actual cost of delivering services. We're looking forward now to our Giving Tuesday campaign, which will kick off our end-of-year annual gift drive. And so really we're so grateful for the years of support of Maine Township in supporting us to continue to provide quality services to those with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Thank you very much. Board members, any questions from our board members? All right, and from our department heads? All right, thank you very much.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have set our concern.
Hi, good evening. I'm John Magnabola. Nice to be back here. Thank you for your ongoing support of the Center of Concern. We're almost in our 45th year serving Maine Township residents. And I specifically want to thank Evan White for coming out to visit us over the summer. We had time to get to know each other a little better, and I want to extend an open opportunity to any of you who would like to come by and learn more about our services and the wonderful things we do in the community. I want to make sure I leave time for questions, so I'll try to be brief. Our agency services continue to be in very high demand. Last Maine Township year, we provided nearly 29,000 individualized services to Maine Township residents, including supporting older adults, individuals and families facing housing insecurity, and supportive services during the pandemic. The average demographic of Center of Concern client is a single woman over the age of 60 who makes less than $19,000 a year. So many of the people that we serve are without family nearby to care for them, so targeting isolation and helping people without resources is really such an unmet need in our community. More than 83% of Center of Concern's clients have monthly incomes at or below 60% of the area median income and are defined as low income by the Federal Poverty Wage Index. As you know, the Center of Concern's mission is to provide housing, solutions, support services, and counseling for older adults, persons with disabilities, and others in need, enabling them to live with independence and dignity. We work toward that mission in three primary service areas: community services, homelessness prevention, and older adult support. Community services offer a wide range of free counseling services by our remarkable professional volunteers. Some of them have been with us for several decades. We ensure that residents have access to appointments with a network of these experienced professionals who assist with legal counseling, employment and financial counseling, senior health insurance counseling, helping people choose supplemental health insurance plans as they move retirement, and income tax preparation assistance. Proud to report that we were recently named an IRS agency for a program for older adults called the Low Income Tax Assistance Program for the Elderly. So that will help us support even more older adults with our for lower income adults with tax preparation services. The real bulk of what we do is our senior support services. That accounts for 2/3 of what we do. So our experienced case managers and trained compassionate volunteers provide quality services to older adults and people with disabilities. Through a variety of programs and services, older adults are enabled to remain in their homes longer and able to live with dignity and independence. For many of us, the cost, well, I should say for so many people, the cost of residential care has grown so exorbitant, reaching $100,000 per year just is not an option. So our services, really the vision of our founder and what we've kept in place all these years is enabling people to remain in their homes with supportive services. So connecting them with the supportive services like telephone reassurance calls and friendly visits, volunteer grocery delivery, Alzheimer's caregiver support group, our weekly memory cafe for families impacted by memory loss, in-home chore housekeeping provides free housekeeping services to older adults, as well as employment opportunities to support older adults in their homes. Our weekday lunches are served, last year we served over 25,000 meals, and Messiah Lutheran graciously hosts our program each Tuesday through Friday. But the real intervention begins when our experienced case managers provide in-home assessments for township residents, able to assess their needs and then connect them to the agency programs that support their needs. Some of our other activities include our energy assistance program, which help people understand resources to reduce their utility costs. It's especially helpful for people on fixed incomes. All these programs really are targeting isolation, which is such a devastating impact on older adults, which was especially evident during the pandemic. Connecting older adults to resources is really such a positive thing, and we're so fortunate to have these wonderful volunteers that support our services. Our housing services and homelessness prevention area provides clients with clients of all ages access to resources they need to obtain and maintain safe housing and ensure their long-term success. Case managers counsel individuals and families having difficulty with their current housing situations and help identify the resources necessary to make informed decisions. We also offer emergency and long-term housing services so that individuals and families at risk of or currently experiencing homelessness remain safely housed. We assist clients in obtaining and maintaining safe housing and then provide access to counseling, education, and resources to ensure long-term independence is achieved. We're one of few agencies that are part of the Alliance to End Homelessness, and so we're able to intervene and provide support leading the latest principles of harm reduction and cultural competency and putting forth the housing first principles. Also in the past year, we became a HUD-approved certified, housing counseling agency. So we're the only HUD-approved counseling agency in the northwest suburbs. And some of our housing and services include our home sharing program, which is one of the oldest in the country, started in the 1980s. This is a wonderful program where older adults that have extra room in their homes are able to find some supplemental income, but more importantly, they're able to have someone stay with them and look out for their overall needs. Our rapid rehousing program houses people who are literally homeless, so we engage with local landlords to find housing, competitively priced housing, and interact on behalf of our clients to build their credit and provide stable housing. We provide rent, mortgage, and utility assistance, other housing counseling, and ongoing case management. We're very, very fortunate to have achieved many partnerships over the 44 years, enabling us to be a sort of independent agency that provides an unbiased advice and guidance and support to connect people to proper resources. As I mentioned, our volunteers provided over 7,000 hours of services last year. In conclusion, many people are predicting, a poor economy, a bumpy road ahead. So we realize that when our economy is poor, it's putting more demands on services provided to agencies like Center of Concern. To quote the USA Today, recently, 1 million more seniors aged 65 years and older fell into poverty last year, boosting the percentage in poverty to 10.3% from 8.9% in 2020, and the highest level since 2002. So we expect, the Center of Concern expects to serve 8,000 clients during fiscal year 2023, and more if the economy continues to sputter. So very grateful for the ongoing partnership with Maine Township to serve residents, and eager to continue our impactful programs and services.
Jen, did you just very briefly want to explain your congregate dining program and the alternative for people to get meals picked up?
So during COVID, we sort of have a hybrid program. So there's a curbside pickup where people pick up meals, both at our offices and displays, as well as at the Niles Senior Center. And then other participants go in person to the program at the Messiah Lutheran Church each Tuesday through Friday. And then part of the program are also outreach lunches. So we had our most successful outreach lunch right here a few weeks ago, where we had, I think, 65 other adults attend. All of the congregate programs also include education and socialization activities. So it's nutrition as well as engaging older adults in activities to target isolation.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from board members? Or department heads?
I just wanted to say I refer a lot of seniors to you.
Oh.
So I hope we don't annoy you guys over there.
Oh, not a bit. We're happy to help. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Next we have the Zacharias Sexual Abuse Center.
Good evening. My name is Katrina Bolters. I am the Director of Development at the Zacharias Sexual Abuse Center. We are a rape crisis center that offers treatment for those who have experienced sexual violence. We offer counseling to adult and child clients, as well as non-offending parents or caregivers and significant others. We also provide medical and legal advocacy. So if somebody is in a hospital, if their survivor is in a hospital or in a police station and they need support, we will be there for them. Hospitals are required to call a advocate for any survivor of sexual violence to come and support them. We will walk them through the exam kit, explain what their rights are, explain medical billing, the fact that they're not supposed to get any medical bills if there is an assault and they are having an exam. We can sit by their bedside for up to 6 hours or more if they need us, just to show them support, to give them some more power in the situation after having lost that sense of independence. We also provide prevention education, because prevention education is really a key factor in ending sexual violence, and that is our ultimate goal. Last fiscal year, between counseling and our advocacy services, we helped 433 survivors and their significant others or parents. We provide counseling either individually or in group settings. Our clients range from ages 3 to 99 years old and everywhere in between. We have an office in Green. We also have an office in Skokie that Evan did come and tour this summer. It was so nice for him to come and join us. We also will go out to organizations, for instance, Niles is having us come out next month and work with their counselors, because rape trauma crisis counseling is a little different. It's very different than other sorts of trauma. And so working with those counselors to see how they can best service their clients in the area, we would do that for anybody who requested that type of service from us. All of our services are free. We don't charge for any of it, so we rely entirely on funding from townships, we do get funding from the Illinois Coalition Against Sexual Assault corporations and foundations. Fundraising is the only way that we are able to provide these services to survivors and to go out to the schools and provide prevention education training. Last year in Maine Township, we helped 30 residents. Some of that looks like, oh, I forgot to mention, we have a 24-hour support hotline. We answered 556 calls last year. That number is actually a little bit down from the year before. During COVID, we saw an increase in calls to our hotline because people were not comfortable coming into in-person counseling sessions. So our numbers, now that we have both in-person and virtual counseling sessions, people are more comfortable coming in. So our actual services provided in person for counseling and advocacy increased, and our call line fell a little bit, but still over 550 calls into our hotline. Yeah, that's all. I'm not sure what else to do. That was a lot in a big one breath that I did it all in. We are thankful for the township's funding of us for our partnership. We look forward to growing that partnership. We have services that we do provide that we would like to continue providing or maybe expand that relationship. But we do help everybody. Anybody who comes in and calls in our hotline, you can either live in Maine Township or work in Maine Township and you just need something close, because we do have our location on Dempster. If you want you want to go there and have services, see your counselor there, bring your children there, whatever you need, we're there as well. We have group sessions in the evening, as well as individual counseling throughout the day and evening.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have any questions from the board members?
Please share your hotline number. When you say 24-hour hotline number?
Oh, it is 847. I should know it off the top of my head, and I don't know it off the top of my head. I can give you our office number, but our hotline number is. Can I go look in my wallet for just a
Well,
second?
there's a phone number on your application, is it?
That's our general number. And I don't know why I don't, probably because I'm nervous, I don't have the hotline number off the top of our head, off the top of my head, but I can go get it if you want.
You can maybe tell Evan on your way out.
Okay.
Let us all know.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's no problem. Any department have questions? Yeah.
Yes.
The 30 Maine Township residents that you served this year, do you know if that's an increase from the year prior?
I do think it is an increase.
Good question. Just gonna ask the same thing.
It is an increase in last year's numbers, but it's not a significant increase.
Because the previous paragraph says 13, and then it says 30, so it looks like it's going up. You see that, Austin? It says 13, Maine, then the next paragraph says 30. So it sounds like it's possibly going up.
It is possibly going up, and some of it, again, some people call in our hotline number and receive services that way, and then some people may have just increased now that we're doing in-person and virtual services, their counseling services that way.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay. All right, thank you. And you can get the phone number and give it to us.
I'll give that to Evan.
Don't give it to us, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Now, we were informed earlier today that the representative from Fish of Park Ridge will not be coming this evening. And it's possibly withdrawing their application for funding. Evan, would you confirm that in writing tomorrow, with an email or something, to confirm that they not only did not want to make a presentation, but they actually wanted to withdraw their application if that was the case?
Yes, I'll make sure to get that in writing.
Okay.
They will call about 10 minutes before the start date, so I'll get it in writing tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Did they say when they want to withdraw? Maybe? Thank you.
Sorry. You asked why they wanted to. The representative basically just stated that he is not interested in the money. In the fish application, you can note how they have all very large sum of reserves. They requested about $700, so they just feel like it's not worth the hassle for them since they take a large reserve from previous years.
Okay, all right, okay, fine. Did you want to give that number?
Yes.
You want to just read that?
All right, so the 24 hotline number is 847-7799.
Could you repeat that, please? I missed a number.
847-872-7799.
Thank you.
And then we'll have one more with the harbor.
All right, so I think I saw someone coming in.
10-second break. Very recess. Very good.
Good evening. Nice to see everybody. Thanks for letting us just walk straight in. Perfect time. Appreciate the coordination there. I'm Melanie Rose. I'm the executive director at the Harbor. I'm joined by Jessica Wright, who is our program director. And we're thrilled to be here tonight to present to you our application for funding for the 2023 cycle with Maine Township. And this is an especially special day for me because it's my year anniversary since joining the Harbor. And it's especially relevant seeing you all because you were my first township coming to present last year. So now we're all friends. And it's great to see you. Nice to meet you. And I'm excited to be able to share more with you about what the Harbor's got on deck. We have a lot of exciting work that's been happening over the course of the pandemic that never stopped. And also work that we're endeavoring to do in a way that maybe youth housing services hasn't looked at before. And the Harbor's existed for over 50 years. We started as a crisis home, providing emergency shelter for young women. And we moved out to the Park Ridge Des Plaines area in the 1980s. And you've been our home ever since. This is where we have our emergency shelter. It's also where we have our transitional, some of our transitional programs. And Park Ridge is also where our offices are. So we're thrilled both by the partnership with the community as well as what it means for the future of our work together. What we've learned in working with partners within the housing provider network, especially youth housing providers, is the urgency of being able to work with young people to stabilize during what has been a very disruptive 2 years. As I indicated, we didn't stop our services. We continued providing 24/7 coverage to our young people at our emergency shelter, as well as our transitional programs that we operate between Schaumburg all the way through Niles. So we're very excited to have added the third component of our services, which it relates to community outreach and raising awareness, because something we knew prior to the pandemic was young people experience housing insecurity differently than the typical age of participants in adult services, which is in the mid-50s. Right? So
we work with young people up to the age of 24. And in those approaches, you have to be sensitive to the needs that impact their sustainability. And as we think of our community outreach, we are prioritizing partnerships that build a network of resources, a community wraparound, if you will. And Jessica's going to share more with you about what that looks like in Maine Township. But we also are intentionally partnering not only with community partners and with community stakeholders like yourselves, we're also partnering with youth, because the best way to be able to speak young people language is via other young people. And it gets harder every day for those of us who are not. So partnering with young people on this is incredibly important. And working within community-wide initiatives, so knowing that we are not the only source of support for young people, we're part of the greater web. And as we look forward to what this means for us as an operations, we partner with our young people for youth leadership and for new ways of designing our programs. We're also partnering with our staff, because as many agencies have faced, we too have faced challenges in staffing, especially when you're a 24/7 operation. So Jessica and her team have been incredible in trying to come up with creative ways of supporting our staff, but also empowering staff. And so our theme is partnership within all of this. It's partnership with young people, partnership with our staff, partnering within the community. And we're very excited to be looking to this future of collaborative learning and building physical spaces that promote safety and healing, well-being, just like our new shelter that was completed since the last time we last saw each other. And it's a facility unlike anything that is available for youth housing services. So I'm going to let Jessica share more with you about what this has looked like in Park Ridge and what it will be looking like.
Hi, everybody. Again, so just some really exciting things that we're doing. We're really trying to get back to the community, like Melanie said. We've been missing, with the community for the last couple of years. It's looked a little bit different because of the pandemic. And so we're really back to partnering with the schools, partnering with the libraries, partnering with, all of these different agencies that we kind of missed working with. So November is National Runaway Prevention Month, and we will be partnering with the Park Ridge Library to do a candle vigil, as well as a huge display that will be there month long. So just an example of one of the community things that we will be getting back to, which is very exciting. I know we talked about this probably last year as well, but we continued, as Melanie said, to stay open. So we provided PPE for Maine East and different schools and worked with the school social workers to make sure that we would troubleshoot any family crisis or things, even if they weren't eligible for a harbor. So we're really excited to get back to that and looking forward to what we can do for the future.
Okay, thank you both. Thank you very much. Are there any questions from board members or from our attendees? Thanks very much for your presentation.
I'll just make it so we originally Tuesday. Thank you so much, and best wishes on your efficiency.
Thank you. All right, before we conclude, I just wanted to go over what our next steps are. I think we're following the procedure that we followed last year in terms of kind of conclusion. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the next step is that we receive department heads with recommendations as to am I correct? All right, and anyone remind me when we might expect to receive those?
Maybe Evan wants to comment. Do you want to comment on that? I think this is your program, right?
Yes, I believe on my calendar I have that the staff recommendations should we do 2 Fridays from now, I believe. And then the board is a week from now. So I can send an email out with the dates. I just, in my head, just have it like weeks out. So what I'll do is I'll send an Excel sheet out So one to each, all of you, and then you'll just input your recommended funding. And then basically what we'll do is there'll be different columns, one with the department heads average, right, board members average, and then we will look at the averages of all of it, and then basically we just quickly discuss, should we bring it a little up, a little down. Last year we basically made sure like it all was even at like 8,000 as opposed to 7,950, like we kind of made it more even. So with those averages, we'll kind of just decide if it goes up or down a little bit. Yes, I'll send an email with the exact dates, but I think that's the general process.
And you said board members was doing a week or a week after?
Week after.
Oh, okay.
I believe last year because some of the board members, what Richard told me, that they wanted to see what we came up with.
Okay, I just want to.
So when you send the Excel sheet out, just remind us, please, what date it is that you want to get our sheets back.
Yes, of course.
With our ratings. Okay. Also, you know, the lady who was here earlier from Resources for Community Living, do we want to ask her to come back or just give her the option of appearing at a board meeting if she really wants to?
Sure.
I mean, I think we certainly don't insist on her coming.
Sure. What she
but-
stated to me outside is that she just stated if we had any questions, we can at least email her.
Okay.
So it definitely seems like she is at least open to finishing what she may have not. So I can send an email.
We did hear part of her presentation and we do have the application, so I think we're good with what we have so far. Is that right?
As to the recommendations, I would like to do the handwritten again. I delivered mine by hand.
You can do that. Yeah.
All right?
Yep. Whatever works best for you.
All right.
Instead of spring. I think that's right.
Yeah,
Delivered.
a wax seal or something.
It's easier for me to come by with the wax seal. Chop some dirt.
Trustee Barker. So, could I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Do you want to do a roll call?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes, please.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
Administrator Berman? Yes. And Department Secretary Minsky and Person?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.